Welcome to Align Trading, going over today's SPY recap and live analysis. So first thing that I explained in the morning in the pre-market brief for Discord members, Powell was speaking in the morning, hence why we get all this crazy price action right here. Now, what you had to be paying attention to, however, were the blue and yellow controlled selling algorithms that you can see right here and how we are still within them and trying to form this inverse head and shoulder that you can see right here. And within that, we have this nested inverse head and shoulder. Also, you have to see this cup that formed at this level, and within that cup, we have this handle that is trying to form right there. And you see how we grab that liquidity and are now trying to push out of this 563, but we ran out of time at the end of the day to form this inverse head and shoulder right here to see if we could break out within that purple buying continuation that you see activating here. However, before we had this bounce off the 5-day moving average, we did have a very nice few trades to the downside after filling this cup right here. You can see this head and shoulder rejection back below this price right here, and you see that shoulder. It's a bit harder to see within this due to the candles on the 30-minute, but I will show you on the 1-minute chart with the microstructure and how it goes there. Now here on the 1-minute chart, so for the first 30 minutes we were waiting for Powell, and here at 10 a.m. he came out and we get this large green candle to the upside. Now I won't talk too much about this first price action in here. It is controlled selling, however, it is right before the news, so it is a bit of a gamble. So this is not really a sufficient trade, not very clear, but if you took it, great work. Now within this, we start to see this green buying continuation right here, and then the same yellow and blue controlled selling algorithms right here, and you see how we form this inverse head and shoulder. Now that is a much better trade there to the upside. Now you would have had to protect your trade most definitely by the close of the cup right there, like we explained at this level right here. And from there, we never were able to get higher. You see how we form this inverse head and shoulder off of that level right here. Now, once we close this inverse cup, we don't see this handle quite yet, and we never get that breakdown. And I was explaining that that first move could be a fake out and to be paying attention for this move below this liquidity right here. And you also had to understand that the 5-day moving average was right around this area as well. That is where this big candle comes in, and we will get to that in just a second. So with this inverse cup that closed and not seeing this handle quite yet, we tried once again to head back up right here and form this inverse head and shoulder, but once we closed that cup and tried to form this handle right here, we were never able to get that continuation and that breakout. We would have also required more liquidity there anyways, I would assume, with it being such an important level. So right here, even you do not see this head and shoulder trying to form that inverse or say another cup and shoulder right there. Now what you can see here is this double top, and you see that head and shoulder forming right here. Now we close once again another inverse cup, so you get a second chance at this first one right here and an even better handle within that white. You can see this white algorithm right here, and once we get back in it, you see that beautiful head and shoulder, and what a trade there to the downside. We get this flush through that liquidity and through that 5-day moving average like I explained. Now with that flush through the 5-day moving average, when it came time to form this handle and hold below this right here, right, to form this head and shoulder as well as this inverse cup, and you see right that handle that we're trying to form here, we never formed this inverse shoulder, regular head and shoulder right there to the downside. And then even here, once again, we were never able to close this inverse cup back below that 5-day moving average. Maybe another handle right here and see more flush. Now, like I explained here, once we started moving back to the upside, you need to see this cup close right here. And if we close that cup and then form this handle right here, say, then you could look for something like that for that continuation. But this right here is still not sufficient enough, and you can see that we are never able to get back above this level right here. Now, what you had to be paying attention to, right, is there was no close of that cup, and you did not have to, right, trade this right here. Yes, there is a head and shoulder, but you would have had to catch it quickly. What you would have wanted to see was this starting to form right here off of this shoulder and that inverse cup that is starting to close. And you see that head and shoulder, there is a few entries within it here, but there's a good move to the downside, and we close this inverse cup right here once again. Now, once again, you're in the situation of closing this cup at this 5-day moving average, and we're trying to break down here. It's a similar situation to a setup I explained in yesterday's video right here with these inverse cup and the head and shoulders trying to form. So if you were taking these right, protect that trade at the close. You're waiting for this handle right here, right? It's forming, okay, close another inverse cup, take some more off. We don't get the downside, okay, that's fine. Wait for another handle right here, and you can see that this one took a bit more time, but you see it once again, this head and shoulder, and right, take some more off on this cup close. Well, this trade, now you got that actual flush, and you can take profits right here. So you see how that kind of works off of the larger setup and the smaller setup within it. So like I was saying in my last post with the Ponzi leeches not giving up here, well, that is why I called it a day right here. I just did not like how this only flushed with one candle like that. You see the previous, right? We had a couple. Even right here, we see some more follow through. And for this to happen at this 557.37 level, it was not a good sign. Let me explain why. You can see this level right here is a very key level, right? We keep touching it and we cannot break below it. Even when we did right here, right, we held below it, but we gapped up to start the day. So we were looking for this shoulder right here. You can see that if we formed that, well, we would look for that inverse cup to close and start breaking out of that white algorithm. You see a shoulder right here as well, and then this 553 level that I explained in the pre-market brief would be the ultimate level if we were going to get a larger flush. Now, with this right here, I explained you do have to be paying attention. You can see that this still can be controlled selling, and off of this 5-day moving average, we can begin to grab this liquidity right here, and you see how that occurs with this inverse head and shoulder starting to form and trying to close that cup and form that handle we talked about in the beginning of the video. Now, in terms of an entry, you can see right here how this 5-day moving average is right there. So once we form this inverse head and shoulder, and you see this cup close and that handle starting to build right here, well, this could have been your trade as we start moving back to the upside to close the cup at this 560.77 level. Once again, another very important level. You can see that this is a point of control right here, and it has been tested several times already. Like I was explaining, you have to see it below the 5-day moving average in order to short it. So right here, if you were looking to short, well, we needed to be back below that, and we needed to see that flush. So if we did get back below that 5-day moving average, close this inverse cup, and then get back below this 557.37 level, then we could see more downside, but we never lost that 5-day moving average again for the rest of the day. So therefore, you should not have been taking this short just because it is moving up. Don't be trying to just call for a reversal without anything actually confirming so, right? So if we closed it, like I was explaining with that 560.77 level right here, saying to watch how it reacts, I also explained you have to be paying attention to this level in general, because similar to this level down here, 557.37, you can see how many times we have tested this, and it is an important level right here. Now, if we wanted to head back down, right, be looking for this to form right here. Now, you also had to be paying attention to this cup that I explained right here, and if this was just a handle, we got the move back up off the 5-day moving average, and you see it starting to form that inverse head and shoulder right there, and we get the breakout of that yellow algorithm. But we ran out of time, right? Like I was saying, to break out of the blue and form this handle. So now, something that you had to pay attention to as well, and why I recommend Bookmap, is because you could see right at this level, it was 56.40 on ES, and there was a wall of sellers. Now, this is that level right here, so you can see 56.40, but I explained if we were able to break out of that wall, 56.50 is very interesting. You can see that we had orders on the book right there, and look where we reach that 56.50. So that is that move right there, and you can see, right, it is a good spot to reach. We kind of have this range going on within between here, and then once again down here at 56.30 we have this next range, so about a 10-point range. Now, if these two levels were going to give us a rejection off of it, like I was explaining here, you need to see not only this head and shoulder, but you need to see us form this shoulder right here. We need to close this cup back to the 5-day moving average. We need to see this handle, and from there, something like that if we want to close this larger inverse cup. But you see that never happened. Now, this never forms to the downside right here, and there's really not much to the upside. I explained to be watching for this blue controlled selling right here if we want to see this breakout, but you see it takes quite some time and continues just giving fake outs in this chop. However, we are not breaking down, right? We're never forming that shoulder even right here. If you were chasing this to the downside, you must see that below the 5-day moving average before you act on it. Otherwise, you see how this is still that blue controlled selling, and we start to form that inverse head and shoulder, and finally get the breakout back to this cup right here at that level. Now, with what I'm saying right here on the 1-minute chart, you also have to understand what's going on the 30-minute chart, so we're not breaking down, and you can see that we have this purple buying algo that is activated right here, and I explained that unless this breaks and we're below the 5-day moving average, I would not be looking to short this. You can see right how we are holding this and getting that continuation. There was never a move down, and we never saw that. Now I'm going to go over what to be watching next week. So you can see how we are forming that cup that I've been talking about with this handle at the end of the day. So if on Monday we do want to see this breakout, well, you have this next cup right here. Let's see if we form this handle right here and we get some sort of breakout above that 563 that we have not been able to break out of this entire week. Now, if once again we cannot break out of it, we are within this white algorithm still, you can see, and if we do want to still be building this rejection structure right here, well, what are we going to have to do? We're going to have to get back below that 5-day moving average. So if we do want to dump, right, we are still looking for this. We're looking for this shoulder right here, and we're looking for the close of this cup and to see that continuation to the downside. Now you have to pay attention to what we are trying to do right here. If we are going to see the close of this cup, well, you can see how we're trying to form this shoulder right here. We're not breaking down below this level, and we have this inverse head and shoulder back above that 5-day moving average. So if we do want to close that cup, be watching for that, and then if we have continuation above, or at that point maybe we get this rejection off of it and then grab this liquidity on this left shoulder, and from there get a larger pullback, maybe down into one of these areas before we get a recovery. Now, here on the daily chart, you can see we are still above this 5-day moving average right here, and this upper Bollinger is still trending up along with this 5-day moving average. So you do have to respect that and understand that we can reach this upper Bollinger as our next target. We reached the 5-day. Now we are looking for that upper Bollinger retest as long as we hold above. Now, if we do, right, reject the 5-day moving average, well, we can look for this to start breaking down, looking for this 20-day moving average retest. And then from there, if we get that, well, we can look for, once again, this inverse head and shoulder starting to form there for this cup and that handle. You see how that would start to build right here. Just pay attention because we are coiling up right here and we are going to get a big move. It is just a matter of time. Next week, we have the all anticipated Nvidia earnings on the 28th, so be paying attention for that. Now, this is important. It may give the market an excuse to push to new all-time highs if it comes in positive and we see a rally off of that, or maybe there is a shocker of a catalyst and we do get some sort of dump right here. Now, whether it is sustained, right, that will have to be for a future date, see how we react to the 20-day and so on. This will wrap up the video though, so thank you everyone for watching, and I will see members Monday morning. Have a good rest of your weekend.